Hey everyone, it's Kong again, back with another video for the new Zlong Games tactical gacha Archeland, and yes, I guess we're going with Archeland. The way it's spelled in English, with the E after the arch, makes it look like it should be Archland or Arshland, but I saw some translated stuff directly from the Korean and it has that hard K in there, so I guess we're gonna go with Archeland. Anyway, all that aside, today I'm going to be doing a very quick video just running down the basic training missions. So you've got a little training dummy, and this is really a section of the game that's just meant to kind of teach you the basic battle mechanics. I'm sure once we get into more advanced training techniques, there'll be some more difficult strategic situations, but for now we've got some very basic little situations here. So I'm going to run through them all really quick. Alright, so this first mission, obviously being the first one, is also going to be the easiest. But each mission here is intended to teach you something as well. So what we're learning here is we have melee attacks and ranged attacks. We were easily able to attack into that guy and then finish him off with her ranged attack. But now we're left with a situation with our injured melee attacker. If I try to attack this guy directly, I'm going to be counter-killed. So obviously the lesson we're learning here is to start with your ranged attack, since he can't counter at range. And then your melee attacker is going to be able to finish him off without dying. Lesson learned. The second battle here is to teach you about the weapon triangle, or the color triangle in this game. So we have a green guy here. He's going to be strong against blue enemies. We have a red unit, who's going to be strong against green enemies. And of course we have a blue unit, who will be strong against red enemies. Nothing too revolutionary there. Try to take advantage of this weapon triangle or color triangle when you're choosing your targets, but also when you're choosing the units that you know you're going to get hit by. The third battle here is about making use of your skills and your range. So she used a skill that gives her an automatic dodge after she uses it, so even though she knew she was going to end her turn within range of that second attacker, it wasn't going to be able to hit her. If you just did a normal attack on that first enemy, the second enemy would be able to come up to you and finish you off. The next lesson is another little lesson about range. So we do have an archer here, who is strong against flyers, and he's able to move again after acting. That lets him get out of range of this second enemy and then finish it off with his next turn. Alright, this next lesson is a lesson about the danger zone. So it's indicating to me here that I should turn on the danger zone indication, so I can see where enemies are going to be able to attack. You can kind of see highlighted here, any of these red areas, that's areas where these enemies can reach. Now, I'm able to stand him just on the outside of this blue archer's range, knowing that I have color advantage over him, and he's not really going to do that much damage. I don't want her to take a hit, because she's injured, and a blue archer will obviously be able to really take good care of her. So now that this guy's in range, I'm able to use my color advantage to my advantage. And she's not as worried about this green guy, because she has advantage over him. So sometimes, if you have a strong unit that has the color advantage over an enemy, you can lure them or kite them by standing in the edge of their attack zone. Alright, this lesson is kind of an interesting one, and it's really about how the AI behaves. Anyone who's played Langrisser for a long time already has a pretty firm handle on this, but there are a few rules to the AI's behavior. So I've got a tank here who has a passive ability to guard nearby allies. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a few different allies of different types, and an enemy And you basically just look at what the enemy is and figure out who they're going to try to prioritize among these units. So here we have a green enemy. He's obviously going to want to attack this blue ally because he has type advantage. So I'm just going to stand by the blue ally, and that will let me passively guard. So that's the first lesson. The AI will try to attack enemies that it has type advantage over. So the next lesson is melee versus ranged. Here we have a melee opponent, 2 melee allies, and 1 ranged ally. So the next thing an enemy is going to try to do is prioritize attacking ranged units if it has melee attack. Kind of like what we learned in the very earliest of these little training situations, ranged enemies will also try to attack melee allies because they'll be able to hit them without repercussions. And the final lesson we have here may be obvious based on the allies they gave us, but we have a couple very healthy allies and then one who's near death. So the AI will also try to prioritize finishing off injured units. If there's a unit that it thinks it can kill based on its calculations, it'll prefer to attack that one. Alright, next up we have a lesson on guarding and skill disabling. So this enemy has a passive guard for the characters or the enemies that are within a couple spaces of it, but fortunately we have this little character here who can cast a skill that slows the enemy or reduces the enemy mobility. Now that also reduces his ability to guard. So now that we've used that ability on him, he can't guard his nearby units, which lets our other attackers go in basically with impunity and finish them off. All that's left now is this big guy who's just standing there, not really doing anything important anymore. We'll start with the ranged attack, of course, as we learned in our previous mission. And then finally we'll attack with this last unit, who's able to finish him off without getting counterattacked. And that's it for that lesson. This last one is one that I've seen people asking about on the Discord or having some trouble with, so this will be the fun one to go over. Basically, the gimmick with this battle is we need to have all the enemies dead by the end of turn 2, so it's really teaching us about prioritizing our actions. The first clue we have here is that we do have a guard, but she has that mobility down debuff that we saw in the last match. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring my healer up and get that debuff removed so she'll be able to protect the rest of the team. Alright, so my main character is able to easily finish off that archer with type advantage, and then we'll just bring my tank in here to guard the rest of the team. Perfect. Alright, now my guard is going to be able to easily finish off this assassin here. My main character should be able to easily finish off this archer, again, type advantage putting in some excellent work. And finally, I've got a melee warrior here who's not going to be able to do anything against this magical attack. And that is all enemies dead by the end of the second turn, and that is all your basic training stages. So hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully you didn't have to think too much about any of those fights, but just a cute little way of training you on some basic mechanics. I'll probably have videos for the more advanced stages as well when I get those unlocked. Thanks for watching everyone, I'll catch you in the next video. Happy arc landing!